Hi guys, welcome back to CMD and another video. You join me back here with hothatches.co.uk. Chris has invited me back to have a look at this Hyundai i30N Performance that he's currently got in stock. Obviously I tested the i30N Performance for the channel only a couple of months ago now. Model very similar to this one right here. Manual, Gen 1. And I was bowled over by the car, really was. More recently, the car's had a facelift and some upgrades along the lines of interior, exterior, so obviously sort of new styling, some upgrades inside, but then things like suspension, dampeners, bushes, camber, along with a dual clutch 8-speed transmission. I can hear the purists screaming at me. So I'm here to find out, can the car still be as engaging and as fun to drive without losing some of that phenomenal character which made me fall in love with it when I initially drove the car only a few months back. If you are interested in seeing that review, I'll put a link up in a description somewhere or here. But for now, let's get into the car and see what it's all about. Welcome back to the i30. A little bit different this time. Drive. Oh, I can go right. Okay. I've made some notes. So you join me in the i30N DCT. I tested one of these, as previously mentioned, a number of months ago now, and it blew me away. Utterly blew me away. Surprised me in every sense of the word. And I didn't begrudge the manual gearbox, especially in a hot hatch. I don't think that's necessarily an issue. However, when Chris originally asked me about the car, my initial thought was, why have they put a DCT in the i30N? But here's the thing, if you speak to Volkswagen about their GTI or Audi about their S3 and the sort of cars that this is trying to compete with, a majority of the cars that they now sell are automatic. If you do a search on Auto Trader for a Volkswagen Golf with GTI in it, as of December 2020, over 240 of them are automatic and 17 are manual. And I know the purists out there will argue and everything else, but here's the reality. The average commute in the UK is under 30 minutes. That means that a large majority of people who drive their car day to day, to and from offices, work, etc., and a lot of what these cars are used for is commuting. And the average commuter isn't going to warm their car up enough to give it the beans and get some engaging driving out the way, especially in the UK, especially in the winter. There will be people who do it, okay, and that's fine, and there's a good reason, but majority of people will not. That heated seat works really well, by the way, in case you were wondering. So in order for Hyundai to compete, they've had to go automatic. Now, where I've been quite surprised is that they've gone DCT, dual clutch, rather than a torque converter, especially in a car like this. But I think that says everything you need to know about this car, and Hyundai in the N division are not messing around. It's arguably an aggressive gearbox. That being said, in eco I haven't felt a gear change yet, so as DCTs go, so far so smooth. Litre petrol engine, 4-cylinder turbo, 16 valve, 280 brake horsepower, so up an extra 5 bhp from the manual, 289 pound-foot though, so big increase in the torque, up another roughly 39-40 pound-foot of torque, all through this dual clutch transmission, 8-speed, which I presume is something to do with the economy that they are trying to achieve from the car. The other thing that's different since I last drove the manual variant of this is that this is the facelift. So you get new styling, both interior and exterior. Inside, it's a very Hyundai affair. That being said, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing anymore. Yeah, you get some plasticky dash and a few bits of trim that are missing, but it's still very mod cons. You know, first thing I did when I got in, textbook winter in the UK, I got a heated steering wheel, boom, and heated seats. straight on. The dash and the detail on both the infotainment screen, 10.9-inch touchscreen, really slick graphics, infotainment on there. I'm really impressed with it so far. If you toggle through drive modes, you get your information. If you sort of configure and get into the details and the settings of your individual, you can sort of see graphs that point you into how aggressive you are with things like suspension, steering, exhaust, the limited slip diff and the traction control, the transmission, the engine. The suspension is adjustable in this as well, which is a huge upside for me. Everything electric, parking sensors, cameras, USB ports, 12-volt power, wireless charging. A very nice place to be. New seats as well, a little bit more racy, really hold you really nice. When you get in, the N light behind you shines, so if you're in the dark you would see the N emblem, much like you get in my BMW M2. Nice touch. And performance figures are strong, so this should be good for 0 to 62 in 5.9 seconds. But what you get with this car over something like the i20 is the additional practicality and size of I could sit in the back quite comfortably. And although there's been upgrades to things like, you know, the infotainment, the interior, the steering wheel is still the same. You get some flappy paddles now. Obviously, you're in an automatic DCT. Exterior styling is a little bit sharper, but for me, the major changes come in suspension. So on the Hyundai website, it lists that they have changed the damper, springs, bushes, even the camber settings. I'm really interested to know two things. Number one, is the handling improved? Because I thought the old car was very good and benefited from obviously a very trick diff on the front and very good settings. And number two, does it miss the manual? Let's go find out. The adaptive dampers, same as the old car, they just handle British roads. This could be a stock Hyundai and I wouldn't knock the ride. And for a car that's got such great sporting credentials on top, you can't help but not be disappointed by it. It just does everything so well. If I was cruising now, especially in an auto, you know, this could be arms up, chilling, and I wouldn't be aggravated by the ride if I was commuting. But even now, you know, in normal mode, it feels quite direct. Front end feels very sort of, ask me where you want me to go. Oh, dearie me. So in cruise mode, gosh, this is effortless. I love how you can sort of just toggle through things so simply. They've really thought about how you'll use the car on a daily basis. It's just a nice place to be. It's comfortable, and the seats, yes, sporty, but my God, they're comfortable in comparison to some of the crap that you sit in. Right, we're nice and warm. We've got engine temperature, oil temperature. Let's flick this bad boy into manual. Oh, wow. I'm going down the worst road in England. It's like a rally stage. Goes lovely. How does it corner? Find out. Yeah. I can't say. I think the car's just very good. Right, we're nice and warm. Starting to get a feel for it now. Tyres are warm. Even on these roads, this car's really starting to find its feet. Sounds phenomenal on the downshift. Oh, I'm glad they've kept that. So let's get to the crux of the matter. Hyundai themselves define this as the everyday sports car, and it really is just an evolution, not a revolution of what they'd built previously. I was worried it would miss the manual. For me, it doesn't. I'm definitely rare in that respect, and I know I am, and I make no apology for it. It's subjective, it's my opinion, so hey-ho. And yeah, would it be more engaging on a nice summer's day when you knew everything was warm and you could go and give the car some stick? Yeah, it really would. But for every day, this just makes an awful lot of sense. I could drive this for hours. It's brilliant. So, two things. Firstly, the suspension. Major change? No, definitely not. I mean, Hyundai pitched this as the everyday sports car. That is, I mean, there's the wording off their website. That's obviously what they're aiming for. You can see why. It's an evolution of the car previously, but it's not a revolution of the car previously. I mean, admittedly, I've set mine up. Having had to go in all the modes now, I've kept my suspension right in the softest setting. Sport is very good, and the car is. I think the nose is definitely a little bit more direct. You can feel that no sooner you're in the car, and that's great, isn't it, for a hot hatch? That is exactly what you want from it. But it's little steps, not leaps. Ridiculously impressed by it. It's so quick. And it makes you can cruise, but you can also drive. It's very, very good. Very good. And the suspension has altered the character of the car that little bit, and does lend itself to sort of auto driving a bit more in comfort. But then when you want to be aggressive with it, because you've got both hands on the wheel at all times, I mean, for me in particular, as a decidingly average driver, I feel that little bit more confident to not have to sort of come down here and raid for the gear stick in just sort of having my my flappy paddles. Oh, it's ridiculously capable. Does it miss the manual? Not in my book. Again, with the caveat, you know, by my own admittance, prefer an auto. I think the idea that it's got a DCT 8-speed box means that you can be engaged. Like now, I mean, I really am. It's very, very good. Would I consider this over the manual? Yes, I would. Yeah, I would. And this one is for sale right now at hothatches.co.uk. So if you're interested in one of these, you couldn't do much better on spec. And why wait? Why go through the hassle of ordering one when the perfect spec one is sat in Beaconsfield right now, December 2022. Oh, it's just so good. For those of you new to the channel, CMD is in the process of becoming a 100% not-for-profit charity. That means any view, like, subscription, any engagement you guys give us at all goes a long way to making a big difference in other people's lives. More recently, we just gave a donation of £1,500 to Birmingham Children's Hospital. All of that money, every single penny, came off the back of videos just like this, supported by people like you and hothatches.co.uk, who have very kindly sponsored this video. So if you are interested in the car itself, make sure you look them up. I will put a link in the description below. They have a very, very good reputation, rightly so. Customers travel nationwide to deal with Chris and the cars that he sources, that are always high spec, always well maintained, and always competitively priced. You would be well looked after and well minded to drop them a line. And fingers crossed, I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Cheers.